Hi and welcome to a sunny day in Härnösand, Sweden. A really beautiful Friday afternoon. My name is Andreas.
Karin.
And we are going to show you the Timberjig with guide rail package today. Logosol is a Swedish company based in Härnösand, Sweden. It's about 4 hours north from Stockholm. If you want to know more about Logosol and our products, please visit our homepage, logosol.com. You can find prices and more information about our products online. And you can also find ways of contacting us if you want to give us a call or email us. You can also find us on Facebook, Logosol Portable Sawmills, and on YouTube. And we're also called Logosol Portable Sawmills there. We have been doing quite a few of these live streams in the past weeks, and we will continue to do them. And I mean, we're really happy that so many of you have shown interest in our live streams, and it's really a fun way, an interesting way of showing our products to a wider audience. And we are normally going to trade shows this time of year in Sweden and all over Europe, but due to the corona pandemic, we're not able to do it. So this is the perfect way of still keep showing our products online. So today, as I said, the Timberjig with guide rail package. Karin will try and have a look in the chat, so please send in questions, and we will try to answer as many as possible during the live stream. I believe we already had a few questions.
Yes, actually.
So we can, if I remember them, it was a question about size of the log you can mill. The guide rail package, the Timberjig with guide rail package comes as a kit with the Timberjig, the guide rail package, and the guide rail holder packages. What do we call them? Guide rail holders. And then 3 guide rails. And those 3 guide rails are 3 meters in total. So they're split up in 1 meter pieces. So with that setup, you're able to mill 2.7 meters approximately. And the question was 7 feet long logs. And 7 feet would be 2 meter and 10 or 20 centimeters. So that's absolutely possible to mill with this system. And the size of the logs were 2 feet.
2 feet
thick. And that's also possible. That's about 60 centimeters. And that's about the max size you can go milling larger logs with this system as well. But up to 60 centimeters is maybe a good limit. But it also depends on the size of the guide bar you have on the chainsaw. And we had another question as well, I think.
Yes, about the chainsaw. If you could use a Steel MS461.
Yeah, if you can use the 461, as long as the size of the chainsaw needs to be at least 60 cubic centimeters and 4.5-5 horsepower minimum. That's a good size chainsaw. If you go with a smaller chainsaw, it takes a bit longer and the chainsaw has to work a lot harder. But it's perfectly. We have customers that have smaller chainsaws than that, and they are able to use the system as long as they take it easy when they mill through the log and don't push the chainsaw too much. So the 461 is a good fit as long as you can remove the guide bar bolts from the side. We will show you in a minute how you attach the Timberjig on the chainsaw itself.
Can the Timberjig be shipped directly to the US?
We can of course ship the Timberjig directly to US, but it's much better if you go to logosol.us, where you can find dealers and distributors in the United States that have the Timberjigs in stock, and it's also shipping wise it's cheaper to get it shipped domestically within the US instead of shipping it from Sweden. Just one Timberjig. Yeah. So, but that's cool that you asked questions before so we can have something to start with, of course. We will switch the camera and just show you what you get when you order the Timberjig with the guide rail package. So this is the system. That's the Timberjig, which you can of course buy only the Timberjig itself, or you can buy it you can buy each of these items separately. But if you buy them in the kit, it'll be like this: the Timberjig with the guide rail holders and the 3 guide rail packages. The Timberjig comes in a nice package that shows you what's included, and it also gives you a few pointers on how to use the Timberjig without the guide rail system. And if we open it up, take the sleeve off, look inside. We have the assembly manual and the instruction on how to use it. You have the assembly, and you also have some tips and tricks and how you do when you're using it, when you're milling with the Timberjig system. So it's here, everything in one kit. It's ready for assembly. The metal parts, some screws and nuts, and also some angles which you can use for building your own guide rail, a wooden guide rail. And we also have our spacer nuts. This is actually what you attach to your chainsaw, that in turn attaches to the Timberjig. So those are included with the Timberjig. It's an M8 thread on the inside and an M8 thread on the outside, and fit any chainsaw that has an M8 thread guide bar bolt, which is a lot of the steel chainsaws and also Huskies. So that's the Timberjig. And then we have the guide rail holders. We'll take the sleeve off. So this is the guide rail holders, the parts which you screw onto the end of the logs, and the bars that hold the guide rail holders piece parts here that actually go underneath the guide bar or guide rail and expands out and locks the guide rail in position on the holders. And then there is the third part, which is the guide rail itself. It's an aluminum guide rail. Looks like that, and you bolt it together with the other guide rails to form a 3-meter long rail. And of course, since these are modular or in 1-meter pieces, you can choose to extend the guide rail even further by putting on additional guide rails as you need. If we move over to the chainsaws that we have here, this is 2 different steel chainsaws. We have the steel MS661 90 cubic centimeter chainsaw, 7.5 horsepower, and this is the Steel MS391. 60 cubic centimeter and about 4.5 horsepower. So, I mean, the one we really recommend is the Steel 661 or any equivalent chainsaw. If we look on the back side of these, they look almost the same except for this one, where we actually put 2 aluminum pieces that had a plastic slide inside here. So these ones come with the guide rail holders. So you put them on the Timberjig to be able to have a surface that you can connect in the back of the guide rail and slide the Timberjig on the guide rail system. If we loosen these 2 nuts here, these are the nuts that actually come from the chainsaw itself. So that's the standard guide bar nut that holds the cover. And here is where we have the spacer nuts, the Logosol nuts. So you replace the one that are on the chainsaw already, which means you need to have a cover where you can remove these nuts completely. You replace them with the included ones from the Timberjig.
Perhaps you should show it first, the whole Timberjig.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it's assembled.
So this is the Timberjig assembled. You have a scale over here in inches, and you have a scale here in millimeters. And that's the distance. When you're looking up here, it's the distance from the top of the guide bar up to the top of the scale plate over here. And if you loosen these, what do you call them? Screws? No? Yeah. If you loosen them here, you can slide the scale plate up and down and choose a thickness, and then you just lock it again, a knob, I think it's a no. And to put them on the chainsaw, you put the spacer nuts in the groove. And attach it like that. So that's how you fit the chainsaw on the Timberjig. And we can actually take this Timberjig with chainsaw and put it on here just to show how it sits here in the back of the Timberjig. So these aluminum pieces with the plastic slide goes and slides against here. So keeps the chainsaw on the guide rail all the time when you're milling, and the chain will actually pull the saw against the log while you're milling. And we can have a look at the side here as well, just to show how it's fixed. It's the bracket here is fixed with 4 screws in the center of the log, and we fixed both of them at each end, and I used the spirit level first when I set it up on both sides, and then I set the scale here by using this key, this metal. It's a metal plate that locks this this arm in position, or steel pipe. It's got 1/4 of an inch increments here, so you can choose to lift it up. And now it's important to have them on the same height from the center up, so that we get an even cut from one side to the other. I think we're ready to do some milling.
Great.
And we can also have a look to see if we have any more questions
Before we start, yeah.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
No, okay.
Great, it looks very easy
It is very easy.
and nice.
As long as you have a sharp chain and a good bar, it's really easy to start milling. And now, if now I put these scales on 5 inches, which means that we have 5 inches from the center and up. So we could get out like a 10-inch cant out of this. And we're going to show you a way of doing a cant with both the guide rail holders and the guide rails and the Timberjig. But you can of course use the guide rail holders and the guide rails for making the cant, and then use the Timberjig on the last operation. But we're actually going to make a cut that's a 90-degree angle from this first cut, and then we're going to use the Timberjig only to do the cant itself and to do the rest of the boards.
Yeah.
So to be able to turn this around, we need to lock or unlock these holders on the side. There are grooves that it's a plate that's keyed, so you can turn it in 90-degree angles. So if we open up, we can turn it around. And then we tighten again when we are in the right position, and we do the same on both sides.
Okay, sorry.
And then we'll just slide the log over like that.
Perhaps yours are a bit closer than mine.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It was because the center of the log was a bit offset on this side.
Okay.
But I think we can slide it in here using only the...
This is super easy, and you are sure that you get 90 degrees with the grooves.
Yeah, all the time.
You can't miss it. You can't do it wrong.
And same with the height adjustment. It's easy with this steel rod, which have the increments, the 1/4 of an inch increments, and as long as you put them on the same distance from the center of the log, so that's 3 inches and 3/4, and we'll put this on the same, you will get really good boards every time.
What is the maximum amount of extensions that can be added?
I mean, there's no limit, really. But of course, the longer rails you have, you need to support it some way on some places along the log, and not only on the end of the log. And so you can buy extra guide rail supports that you actually put on the middle of the log, 1, 2, or 3, depending on the size.
Is the steel MS381 compatible with the Timberjig?
The steel MS
381.
381. Yeah, I mean, as long as the guide bar bolts are, or the guide bar nuts are removable from the cover, it's compatible.
Can it be shipped to India?
Yes, we ship all over the world every week, so no problem to ship to India. Just give us a call or send an email to info@logosol.com and we can look at the shipping quote to India for Timberjig or for the big mill system.
Can it handle tropical hardwood?
If you can mill the tropical hardwood with a regular chainsaw, you can use this system to mill tropical hardwood. I mean, normally it's perhaps more dense and harder to mill, but as long as you have a sharp chain, you may need to sharpen it more often. In softwood, you can probably go for 4 to 5 logs before you need to resharpen. So it depends on the wood mainly, and what your experience with the wood is. If you normally mill or cut it with the chainsaw, you can mill it with a chainsaw. So that's not an issue we've heard anything about.
And more questions about where we can ship, even to Brazil. So
Even to Brazil, yeah. I mean, it's a very versatile system and extremely portable. And it's easy to just pack it in a car or on a boat and take it wherever you want to go milling, and you can mill the logs exactly where they are laying. So a good system that's easy to take anywhere, and gives you a good finish. I mean, good dimensions on the lumber as well.
yeah.
So now we made an edge that's 90 degree, and you can keep on turning these guide rail holders 90 degree additionally to make the cant, the width of the cant. But to be able to show you the most of the product, I'm gonna show you how to use it, how to do that with only the Timberjig. So to do that, we'll actually remove the guide rail. So we'll loosen the clamps, and then we can easily take away the guide rail. And we will also take away the guide rail holders.
Does the Timberjig support a 24-inch bar?
Yeah, it does. It's more of what the chainsaw can handle than the Timberjig. The Timberjig doesn't really have a limit in terms of length of chainsaw bar.
Is the F2 saw carriage compatible with the Timberjig? The F2 saw carriage. Can you use it with the Timberjig?
Yes. Or, I mean, the Timberjig itself is a chainsaw carriage, but it's possible to use the chainsaw carriage on the guide rails and guide rail system. The guide rail holders and the guide rails. But you're losing a bit of functionality by doing that, because you can only use the chainsaw carriage. You can't use the included scale plate on the Timberjig, which I'm about to show you. But you can use the Timberjig on the F2 sawmill and the F2 chainsaw carriage on the guide rail system. That's perfectly
It's possible,
okay.
but not the thought of the systems. You can say.
No, I mean, as I said, you lose a little bit of functionality. Now we're going to set the
We get some questions about contact details and prices and so on. Perhaps you could repeat.
Yeah, if you want to know more about the products we're showing, prices and more technical information and so on, please visit our homepage, logosol.com. And you will also find our contact information there, such our email address, phone number, how you can find us on Facebook. We're Logosol Portable Sawmills on Facebook and on YouTube. But go to our homepage. You can call us directly here in Sweden. You can send us an email to info@logosol.com. If you go to logosol.com, you can actually find information directly to our dealers and distributors in the country you're from, if we have someone there already. Otherwise, you'll be greeted with the contact information from the Logosol headquarters.
And also, if you go into the website, subscribe to our newsletters.
Yes, I mean, if you subscribe to our newsletters, you will get more information about future live streams, campaigns we're running,
product news,
inspirational content as well. Now I have actually put the scale plate here on 6 inches, so we're going to make a 6-inch cant out of this with only using the Timberjig, but for that we require a square, 2 square sawn surfaces, and then we will turn the cant up and start slicing it up into boards.
Oh, you produce some sawdust.
Yeah. And we also produced a 6-inch cant, which we are going to slice up into boards. And now, because the setting is at 6-inch, I need to loosen these knobs here and set it to 2-inch, for example, or 50 millimeters. Nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
Do we have any more questions?
Yes, we had a follow-up on the F2 carriage question.
Yeah.
Is the Timberjig at a disadvantage because it doesn't have the overhead bridge support?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean, you won't be able to slice it up like we did now with only the Timberjig, but you will still be able to use the guide rail holders and the guide rail. So the F2 carriage fits on the system. It's the same type of guide rails as we have on the F2 and F2 Plus. So it's no problem of using it. And if you have an F2 already or an F2 Plus, you can actually only buy the guide rail holders and use your existing guide rails on your sawmill and build your own Timberjig system, since it's modular and all parts work together in a good way.
Here's a nice comment. Great video. Just bought this sågjig and will be doing my first cuts this weekend.
Oh,
so
wow.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
With that.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You're gonna do great.
Yeah. Oh, there is no more questions now.
We can wait a bit longer to see if we have some more questions. But we can just remind you of how to find more information or contact us. Go to logosol.com and choose the country you're from, and you will find prices, more information, pictures, videos, and much more on our homepage, and our contact details, of course, so you can call us or send us an email. If you go to YouTube, Logosol Portable Sawmills, you will probably see that we have a lot of movies or videos there. We have all the live streams we have done so far, but a lot of good videos on the products. I believe we have videos on the Timberjig system as well, so you can get more detailed instructions or be inspired a bit more. But it's a really cool system, works very well, and you can get a good result by cutting the log in the forest. It's a bit more work than doing it on a chainsaw mill that you have more stationary, or a bandsaw mill for that sense as well. But it's a lot of value for your money buying a system like this, and a lot of flexibility, and really, I mean, portable in so many ways. You can pack it in the back of your car or on a boat or.
We get a lot of positive feedback of these products.
Yeah, because it's
the most fantastic projects. It's amazing, and
when
all around the world.
Yeah, when you see people building houses,
yeah,
or garage, or
yeah,
with boards and planks they milled with the Timberjig.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
just the chainsaw and the
It's
timber.
so fun to see and to hear about. And we talk with a lot of customers every week, where they're telling us about all these amazing projects that they are working on with lumber that they've milled themselves on a mill from Logosol, which is really super cool. Super cool.
We have some questions now.
Yeah.
What kind of tree are you slicing? Oak or pine?
This one, it's spruce, I think.
Yeah. Swedish.
So it's a Swedish softwood, I would say. And it's fresh or green, fresh cut wood. So it's really easy to mill. And that goes actually for oak, for example. Oak isn't that hard to mill. Fresh cut oak is actually quite easy to mill with the chainsaw mill.
And then from Scott, I realize the Timberjig can use many different bar lengths, but what is the optimum bar length?
20 to 24 inch is probably the optimum. If you go with the longer guide bar, it's just more cumbersome to handle the chainsaw with such a long bar. I mean, you can have a 36 on the steel 661. The longest bar you can have is a 36-inch guide bar, which you can use with the Timberjig, of course. But it's a lot of chainsaw to handle with the long guide bar. And of course, the guide bar, the longer they get, the more they dip down in the top. And if you're interested in milling like this, have a look at our big mill system, where we have even longer guide bars that are double-ended, where we actually support the guide bar in the top and on the chainsaw side for cutting really big logs. Yeah. I think it's time to say goodbye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you appreciate all of this, and that you are interested in Logosol and our products. Please let us know in the comments if you want to know anything more, or if you have a product that we haven't shown already that you want to see. Please let us know. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for asking the questions.
Yeah.
Without you asking the questions, this wouldn't be a really a good live stream. It's always fun to get the more of an interaction part to hear what you want to know more about. So that's really, really nice. So thank you so much. Yeah, and see you next time. Next Friday.
Next Friday.
The 29th.
Yeah.
May 29th, 4:30 p.m. Central European Time. We will be showing the B751 PRO
Yes.
with Log Moulder. So please join us for that live event
That will be
as well.
awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Great. So take care. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.